Our life in this world is filled with problems. We face daily challenges and struggles. And it really doesn't matter where we go, these troubles and hardships confront us, causing us to have fear and anxiety. There are even times when problems become so severe that others feel helpless and miserable. Well, in the face of such problems, it is but natural for people to seek for a solution. Making choices are an important part of our everyday life. From choosing where we will work or go to school, such choices are necessary toward achieving our goals and aspirations in life. But another important choice that cannot be overlooked in helping us maintain stability in our life is whom we choose as our friends. Research has shown that people do in fact have the ability to influence us, both positively and sadly negatively as well. The truth is that even from a very young age, from our first day of school and continuing throughout life, friends will be a part of it and perhaps help shape us into the kind of person we want to become, or at least with whom we would associate. And this influence can run deep, not only affecting us behaviorally, like influencing us to smoke, drink, or even use prohibited drugs, but also emotionally, which is seen in how we view ourselves physically, even down to our eating habits. So, with this kind of critical choice that is oftentimes made at such an early age, what is the Bible's advice? Let's go to Proverbs 12:26 to get the biblical admonition. The righteous choose their friends carefully, but the way of the wicked leads them astray. We need to choose our friends wisely, because if we fail to choose our friends wisely, they could lead us astray or bring us into trouble. And this has been proven not only from ancient times, but more so in our time. In an article published in the LA Times, the author wrote, "The influence that friends exert over one another as teenagers is clearly powerful and far too often undesirable. Unhealthy behaviors can be almost contagious among kids this age. Teens whose friends smoke, drink, or use drugs, for example, are more likely to indulge in these behaviors themselves. In fact, friendships can not only influence us outside the classroom, but also inside the classroom. A study published in February 2011 in the Journal of Early Adolescence showed that friendships can also make the difference between good and bad grades at school. Researchers at the University of Oregon surveyed more than 1,200 middle school students and asked them to identify their 3 best friends. They found that students whose friends were prone to misbehave didn't do as well in school as kids whose friends were socially active in positive ways, such as participating in sports at school or completing their homework on time. So behavioral science shows us the positive and negative influence our friends could have on us. So we should understand that kids actively want to emulate their peers. During adolescence, they are looking for ways to separate from their families and begin to define themselves as individuals. To that end, they turn to friends for guidance and direction. They tend to mimic their peers' behaviors and adopt the same attitudes. Conforming to social norms helps them redefine themselves while earning them acceptance and approval. Fitting in simply feels good. So, at this point, one may be wanting to ask, how would I know whether my friend or friends are a positive or a negative influence on me? This is what the Bible teaches in 1 Corinthians 15:33. Do not be fooled. Bad companions ruin good character. So, dear friends, if our friends are teaching us to do wrong, or what is against the law, or even against the good character that was instilled in us, then they're not really the kind of friends we need, or the kind of friends that are going to positively affect us. Would you want those kinds of friends? This is why the Bible teaches us to choose our friends carefully. More than likely, we would want friends that would have a positive effect on us, friends of good character. And how does the Bible characterize someone of good character? In Acts of the Apostles 10:1-2, we read, "There was a man in Caesarea named Cornelius, who was a captain in the Roman army regiment called the Italian Regiment. He was a religious man. He and his whole family worshiped God. He also did much to help the Jewish poor people and was constantly praying to God." In this instance, Cornelius is the one that is being described. And here he's depicted as one who feared God and prayed always together with his household. We know here that the first ones to benefit from these good qualities were those of his immediate household. So positive influence begins at home. Parents have a great influence on the character of their children, but they must make a conscious effort to instill this within their home, as Cornelius did. But this positive influence of Cornelius didn't end within his home. His friends also benefited, as we can read in Acts of the Apostles 10:22-23. "Captain Cornelius sent us," they answered. "He's a good man who worships God and is highly respected by all the Jewish people. An angel of God told him to invite you to his house so that he could hear what you have to say." The following day, he arrived in Caesarea, where Cornelius was waiting for him, together with relatives and close friends that he had invited. Cornelius also invited his friends and relatives to hear the words of God, and so strive to influence them in a positive way. What should we learn from the actions of Cornelius? Parents, relatives, and friends have vital roles in the behavioral and social development of their children, their household, friends, and even their community, as Cornelius, a Gentile, had good standing with the Jews during his time. So let us take the time to choose people whom we will call our friends and strive to know how their friendship with us can truly benefit us in the end. One might be thinking, how will I know if a friend is really there to help me and benefit me in reaching my goals and aspirations? Well, there is one friend whom you wouldn't have to worry about taking advantage of you, leading you into wickedness, or even ruining your good character. Who can be that kind of friend? God Himself. And how can God be that kind of friend to us is recorded in Psalms 25:14. "The Lord is the friend of those who obey Him." God is truly the best friend that anyone could ever have. Why? Because He will truly help those who obey Him. How does God prove this? In Psalms 32:8, this is what God had taught. "I will instruct you, says the Lord, and guide you along the best pathway for your life. I will advise you and watch your progress." So God is the one who wants to instruct and guide us. And if God, as a friend, guides us, we will be led to the best pathway of our life. Why are we sure it's the best pathway? Because it would result in our progressing or succeeding in life. Isn't that the kind of friend we would all need in our life? There is no doubt that the greatest friend one could have is God. Why? Because God will not lead us into destruction, does not destine us to punishment, and certainly is not the kind of friend who would take advantage of us. And if God is our friend because we obey His commands, then no matter what the problem, no matter how great the challenge, and even against all odds, just remember to trust in God. He will always provide us the solution.